Hello and welcome to this very special show on GST. We're on the brink of a historic change in the tax regime in our country. And of course, the path for history has never been easy. There are lots of questions about GST, about what tax will apply, how to raise an invoice, who to pay the tax to. We are taking up all your queries on NDTV. Do call us, and if you're sending us emails, mention your phone number so that we can call you back. We have two experts joining us. We have Mr. Ashok Batra and Gaurav Garg in our studios to help answer all your questions. Let's take the first query. We have a caller from Odisha. We have Mr. JP Agarwal. Mr. Agarwal, go ahead. Ask a question.
My question is, I am partner in a registered firm and I want to open my separate service center which will be below 20 lakhs. So can I do it?
You're asking whether you should register if your turnover is less than 20 lakhs?
No, I beg your pardon?
Is your query about registration if your turnover is less than 20 lakhs?
No, I'm already a partner in a registered firm. Partnership firm, and I want to open a service center on my own, in my own name. So can I do it? That will be below 20 lakhs.
Gaurav, what would you say?
See, the partnership firm is registered, probably registered under a separate PAN, and he would be having his separate PAN number. So there would going to be two different SSCs from the perspective of GST. So if his turnover in his own PAN is less than 20 lakh, so I think he need not register. Also, there is a clarification on the FAQs released on the Twitter recently, which says the salary withdrawn by a partner, would not qualify as a supply. So even if the salary coming from a partnership firm would get excluded from the perspective of the turnover, and only the service income which he would be earning, we will see. So if it is less than 20 lakh, I think he will not take any registration under GST.
And I just want to supplement, because you are starting the business afresh. There is no question that first invoice cannot be more than 20 lakhs. So initially you need not get yourself registered. But the moment the turnover exceeds 20 lakhs, then of course you have to apply the registration within 30 days from the day when the turnover exceeds 20 lakh rupees.
All right. So keep that in mind. Watch your turnover and register within 30 days once the turnover exceeds 20 lakhs. We have with us our next caller. J.K. Siddiqui is joining us from Kolkata.
Hello.
Okay, I think it's Mr. Ashok Singh joining us from Bengaluru. Go ahead, yes. Mr. Singh, ask your question.
Yeah, I wanted a clarification on what tax the racecourse has to pay on their betting tax on racehorses. What is the betting tax they have to pay?
Right. We'd request all our viewers, when it comes to tax rates, you can go to the CBEC website. There's the HSN code for different products and the tax rates is mentioned there. But Mr. Pata, very quickly, I think there's a sin tax involved here for betting and gambling.
There's a tax, there's no doubt, and this is sin item. The tax rate will be 28%. The only thing you have to check is in this cess, if there's any additional cess which is leviable, you have to pay that cess also in addition to 28%.
All right, so that's the clarification coming to 28% plus if there's any applicable cess. Jasbir Singh is our next caller. Jasbir, go ahead, ask your question.
Hello sir, good morning to you all.
Good afternoon.
I have a question regarding builders servers. I have booked a house, its base price was 33 lakhs. And earlier I was to pay 4.5% of service tax. Now he says that I have to pay 18% GST. Oh, I have not understood why it is so much higher. I have also a doubt whether I have to pay only for the service part of that cost, or like it includes cost of the land as well as cost of the material, then the services.
Right. Jasbir, is your house under construction? Have you taken possession? What is the status there?
It is under construction and I have paid almost 85% and remaining about 15% is left. It is under construction, not completed yet. However, the due date for construction is over.
All right. What would you say, Gaurav? What should he do? I mean, 4.5% versus what now? And aren't builders also supposed to, lower the prices because of the input credit? This is, of course, the sale made earlier. What happens now?
So one thing is, what is the rate? So if it is purely a work contract activity, then in that case, it would going to be the 18%. Where if the transfers includes the land value also, in that case, it will going to be the 12%. But before arriving at 12% or 18%, I think it is the responsibility casted on the builder to take proper input tax credit and then to come out with a component which they will going to charge from the customer. So there is, I think, clarification also or some guidance from the CBEC also that builder should not overprice or try to profit through this GST.
But Mr. Batra, the sale has already been made. The house is under construction. He's already paid 85%.
Yeah, the law is very clear. Whatever amount he has already paid, that has been subjected to service tax. There is no question of any additional tax on that. So 15% he has to pay because he is a buyer of the flat. Of course, undivided portion of land will come. 18% is out of question. It has to be only 12%. And looking to the fact that he is getting much more credit, and the CBEC has already issued an advisory cautioning the builders, okay, because your credit is likely to be overflow, you cannot increase the price. So I think he should talk to the builder. In case he doesn't agree, he can go to the government because anti-profiteering law has also been introduced.
Yeah, but 15% on what? The total price of the flat?
12% on the value, including the cost of material and services.
So
and
basically
land.
the sale price of the house, which
Sale
he said
price
is 35 lakhs.
Absolutely.
The balance.
But the only thing is his credit will be more. So ultimately the cost under GST era will be much less. So in case he was supposed to pay, let us say 15 lakh rupees as the balance amount, so he should not pay more than that because the balance which is liable to pay is already being considered at 4.5, which is good enough even under the GST law.
All right, we have with us our next caller, Rajinder Jain, is joining us from Nagpur. Rajinder, go ahead, ask a question.
Hello.
Yes, Rajendra, go ahead. Ask a question.
सर ये कार की स्मॉल कार की कीमत में क्या फर्क पड़ेगा?
Can you repeat your question, Rajendra? We haven't quite understood.
स्मॉल कार की कीमत में क्या फर्क पड़ेगा?
What is your question?
What is the effect of GST on small car?
On the small car. Okay, I think
28%.
28%.
Plus some cess.
Yes, so the smaller cars get a little more expensive, I believe. So if you want to find out about the rates on different products, please go to the CBEC website and you'll find a complete detailed list of the tax applicable to different products. We have Prithvi joining us from Hyderabad. Prithvi, good afternoon. Go ahead, ask a question.
Good afternoon. Yeah, my question is about the registration of a house. Basically, I was hearing that we are unable to register before 30th. So, will it be good to register a house after 30th or before 30th? What would be the rate applicable after 30th and before 30th? If you could give me a clear idea, it would be.
Right. Is the house ready for possession?
Yes.
Okay.
I think he is talking about the registration and registration fees which he has to pay on the registration of the house. In any case, registration and road tax, they are not going to be subsumed in GST. So whatever fees is applicable as of now, because it is a state levy, he has to pay the same amount, not affected by GST at all.
And Gaurav, even the stamp duty stays, right?
Yeah.
Correct. So there is a Schedule 3 which specifically excludes house property, the completed house property getting transferred.
Okay.
So I think no GST on that portion and the balance as Sir said.
All right. We have with us our next caller, Radha Ravan is joining us. Radha, go ahead, ask a question.
Yeah. So my question is on 4 different parts. One thing is that ATM withdrawal from ATM counter as well as in the shop. Have we to pay any GST for that? That's number 1. Number 2, whenever I sell my shares in the market, in the share bazaar, what is the GST to applicable for that? I understand this comes under GST. Then mutual fund, whatever I sell in the market, back to the mutual fund, what is the GST? And individual financial advisors, do they have to pay GST? And if so, how much? These are the 4 questions, sir.
Majority of the questions are on services, whether they're taxable.
Shares and securities.
Yes.
In fact, securities being excluded from the definition of goods, not subject to GST at all. Whatever amount is being charged by that broker for the services provided for in relation to the sale and purchase of securities or in relation to sale and purchase of mutual fund, he is supposed to pay tax at 18%.
Okay, and
On
what about the ATM?
portion, if say the as such withdrawal of money is not a transaction, but if bank is putting some charges, that bank charges, then bank will going to charge GST on those bank charges.
on the charges, like if I take a cash transaction charge, on that charge there will be a GST.
Correct.
And at what rate?
Hopefully it will going to be 18%.
18%. Okay. I think we have another caller with us. Okay, we have some emails that have come through. We've got a question from Neeraj. He says, what controls can I put into my system to ensure that the seller has entered my invoice details online in the GST portal? So, Mr. Batra, this is about the invoice, your seller's invoice becoming your, it gets auto-computed.
I think he intend to say because he is buying certain goods from someone, so he should get the proper credit. What control he can exercise so the supplier can upload his invoice and his credit ledger get the credit of the tax which he has paid. Of course, he can't do anything because it has to be done by the supplier only, and he will have his own ID password wherein he can access the number. He has to upload the invoice, then only he will get the credit.
Right, and
But
Gaurav, his
GST
supplier will have his TIN number on the invoice as well, right?
Yeah, but I think more, when supplier is uploading certain details, he will upload it in GSTR1. So I would be having access to GSTR2A, which is the portion which I can see. So if let's say you are a supplier supplying something to me, I can always go back and check whether you have mentioned proper details or not. And if that reconciles my accounts, it's okay. If that is not reconciling my account, I can, submit, I can do the changes which will go to the supplier.
But Gaurav,
when is it available?
Gaurav, his point will come only when you open the window on 11th. But
Yeah,
in case the
the window
supplier
I
does
want
not
to
upload, he can't do anything. about
Yes,
it.
he cannot do anything because
If
first
the supplier is not uploaded. But the window is between 11th and 15th of the month where he can check what the supplier has uploaded, right?
Correct.
Okay, so we have with us our next caller, Noor Ahmed, who is joining us from Mumbai. Noor, go ahead, ask your question.